you're watching this in the UK, then you might not know what an Infiniti is, but the people behind the brand are hoping that you soon will. And this is the car that they're hoping is going to grab your attention.
Infiniti has had a BMW 3 Series rivaling car like this before, called the G37, but your chances of seeing one of those on the road in the UK are slim, to say the least. It was pretty popular in markets like the US, but in Europe, the lack of a diesel engine, a cabin that falls well short of the class best, and a relatively expensive price tag meant the G37 struggled to sell at all.
But Infiniti has recognised the error of its ways, so the Q50 has been designed with Europe in mind. That means there are now two engine choices, so there's the 2.2D, which is confusingly powered by a 2.1 litre Mercedes engine producing 168 brake horsepower. Then there's the top of the range hybrid model, which is powered by a 3.5 litre V6 and an electric motor for a total of 359 brake horsepower. So that's Infiniti's engine problem solved, but what about the interior? Well, it is a huge improvement over the G37, and it feels loaded up with kit because you get these two dual touch screens here, and you get a push start button, you get rear view camera, you get parking sensors, you get cruise control, and that should, I suppose, kind of make it feel quite modern. But unfortunately there's still a few of those old Infiniti touches in here, like these buttons, which immediately make it look a little bit outdated. And we did have a long-term coupe version of the G37 on our fleet at the magazine, and that did fall apart a little bit, but this one does feel better. Everything feels a little bit more solid, but I suppose only time will tell on that front. And Infiniti have added this new in-touch infotainment system, which can deal with apps and music, and it kind of has like an iPod interface, so you can swipe and select. It's very easy to use actually, if sometimes a little bit slow. So we're in the 2.2D, which is set to be the big seller in the UK, and yeah, it's easy to see why from behind the wheel, because it feels quick enough. It's 0 to 62 in 8.5 seconds with the auto box, and it feels, with 400 newton meters of torque, it kind of feels like you always have enough in reserve for overtaking or pulling onto a motorway or something like that. And it's pretty refined as well. At idle, you can barely hear it from inside the cabin at least. And if you're just on a steady throttle, just cruising along like now, it doesn't sound like it's on at all. It's really, really impressive. The problem is, and it's a problem that this 2.1 litre Mercedes engine always has, is that if you push it too hard, it begins to sound really, really rattly and noisy. And even with this car's active noise cancelling, which is supposed to take out some of the unwanted bits of engine noise, it's still too loud. The handling is good. It's a big improvement on the G37. It kind of feels a lot more tied down and a lot more agile, where that car felt a little bit jiggly and a little bit unstable. So this feels a lot more grown up than that. But there is one thing that kind of lets it down, and that is the steering.
Our car has got direct adaptive steering, which is an £800 option on mid-spec premium models and standard on everything above that. It's the world's first fly-by-wire steering, so there's absolutely no connection between the wheels and the steering wheel. That allows for clever things like an active lane departure system and a customisable steering setup, but it feels really artificial and offers next to no feedback. The standard electro-hydraulic system is far better. The Q50 starts from £27,950, which is cheaper than both the BMW 3 Series and Audi A4. It's pretty generously equipped too, with aircon, parking sensors and a reversing camera all thrown in. Go for one of the mid-spec premium models and you'll get leather seats thrown in as well. So, while it may not be quite as good to drive as its rivals, it is at least good value.
Infiniti has got some really big ambitions. By 2020, it wants to be selling 500,000 cars a year, and models like the Q50 are a great way to go about getting them. It's far from perfect, but it is comfortable, it is high-tech, and it is efficient in a class where those three factors are the biggest decision makers. And you know that when a car has you thinking twice about the BMW, Audi and Mercedes crowd, then it must be doing something right.